It is your favorite fourth tier podcast with third tier haircuts and first tier guests. From the Bitcoin Prairie, we are joined by Paul from the Bitcoin Jungle. He is a Nostr ninja,
Yeah.
the mascot of
Nostradamus.
Yeah, the mascot of Primal, mascot of Nostr, and I tell you what, he's also got a smooth left-handed swing that looks like he could put some power to the gaps, and sweet dude, Paul Keating. Thank you for joining us today from Bitcoin Jungle.
Bitcoin Prairie.
Yeah, buddy.
I love that. Is that a thing yet, or is that just kind of something you're like speaking into existence?
I woke up at 3:30 this morning and I thought Bitcoin Prairie.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm speaking it into existence as
Let it be done.
as we go.
I love it, man.
Yeah. So Paul, the reason why I reached out to you is because Grant and I are on this journey of learning in public, holding ourselves accountable, not only to the quality of our own self-education, but also humbling ourselves to the low quality of our haircuts and wardrobe, so that we can make sure the world is well in on that with us. But I find myself thinking a lot about Nostr these days. And the reason I find myself thinking about Nostr is because I think Bitcoin is actually a pretty easy sell. I think if anybody gives any sort of rational thought to money, they realize that the dollar doesn't work for them. And even the people at the top that are close and they can get the Cantillon effect, etc., they realize that long term the dollar doesn't work for them because no dollar has ever survived, no fiat currency has ever survived. So I think Bitcoin's a really easy sell because money doesn't work for 99% of the people. But I think
number goes up.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like that.
That's very true. Number goes up. And so you actually have this real-time feedback mechanism to let you know that you made the right choice. And you can do that by yourself. You don't need anybody else to reinforce that for you because the number does. But Nostr, I'm convinced now that Nostr is inevitable as Bitcoin. However, what I'm trying to do is for myself educate how can I better bring people to Nostr? Because the difference is for 99% of the people, the current internet works really well. Social media works really well because 99% of people are very conformist, and they're either conformist in just the way that they are, or they're conformist because of the programming of algorithms and social media, etc. But it's a much harder sell. And so I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that. Like, do you agree also that Nostr is inevitable, but then also what are your thoughts on how do we sell Nostr? What's our elevator pitch for Nostr like we have for Bitcoin?
That's well, the elevator pitch will change depending on who you talk to. For Bitcoiners, it's easy. It's like, dude, you got your private keys for money. You understand that. And then for Nostr, it's like, well, now you got to take control of your voice in the internet. Like Nostr is your private keys for your speech. And, so Nostr, I do actually think something like Nostr is inevitable as well, just because of how well everything interoperates. Like you can take your identity and your content through multiple apps. And I think that like when it keeps more gravity keeps coming to the network, like I think it'll be Nostr, but we don't know for sure. It's just going to all kind of make sense how you can just log in with Primal or Nostr and all these different apps, like, and you actually own the identity. Now, for the whole social media use case like we have now, it's literally what I'm up at 3:30 a.m. thinking about. Like you had the Bitcoin Prairie thing. I'll have like these ideas about Primal. Like how are we going to get everybody to this more sovereign, less programming side of the internet, less just enshittified version of social media that's actually, we want to be aligned with our users and learn from our predecessors and just make a better digital experience for our users. But the problem is, and this isn't maybe a feature more in the bug, in my opinion, is that there's only Bitcoiners there.
Right.
So
Right. That's true.
it's an easier sell to get a lot of Bitcoiners over, and because their people are already there. And then you kind of look at how social media is now. Like, we got Blue Sky. There's supposedly like 40 million users over there, and they're like all very hardcore left leaning people. And then Twitter is probably more center right, but it's all kind of fragmented. Um, and I wonder if that trend will continue, or if something like Nostr will kind of unify it all and people can just go hang out in the clubs that they like. So, yeah, that's not like a very direct answer. And another thing with what we see, we call Nostr today, I think you're probably just referring to it as just social media, right?
A lot of people, I think that that's the only use case they know of it. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So there's this kind of thing that's going on in the community right now. It's like they're not going to know they're using Nostr.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
Jack Dorsey's bit chat has like Nostr going on in the background. Vine, which is getting rebranded as Divine, is something that Rabble, who's a big founder in the community, is bringing back to Nostr. And all the content's going to be on Nostr, so you'll eventually be able to see it on Primal. And things like that just add this enormous gravity to the network that'll make this all make more sense. And then the whole Bitcoin piece behind it, which I get excited about, we're just light years in the future over here, because it's so damn clear to us that money should just be able to flow anywhere on the planet easily. And maybe the reason that all these apps keep inshittifying and, like, just all the ads and their business models today is because money can't simply flow between the creators and the platforms, and the, peer to peer, like it does with Bitcoin. So that whole infrastructure of the zaps is just kind of light years in the future, or maybe not too far in the future, of like maybe when we can actually have, creators coming and making an actual dent and actually making money on the platforms too. Because I'd like to say, yeah, come over, you're going to make a bunch of Bitcoin, but that'd be speaking out of my ass at the current moment, like it's not true.
But you can speak freely. Um,
Mhm.
you mentioned the gravity of Nostr and things being drawn to it. When I look at not just the social media aspect of it, but the just all of the decentralized apps, and I look at it a little bit, I squint a bit, and I think that I see what Jason Lowry talked about in Soft War, which is that Bitcoin is the base layer for the entire internet, that we will literally rebuild the entire internet upon Bitcoin. And it appears to me that that may be Nostr, that is the way that we do that. And so when I think back to like 2021 and the craze of everybody at that time was talking about the Web3 opportunity.
Yeah, remember that?
Yeah, exactly. The example everybody was always given was like, oh, you've got your Xbox game and you play whatever, you play Fortnite, but you'll also be able to take your character and your skins and your weapons and go over and play Grand Theft Auto, and it'll be interchangeable. And
That's Noster.
that's literally Nostr, isn't it?
Literally
So like
Noster. Yeah.
Nostr truly is the Web3 moment that we thought we were going to get with Sandbox. I probably nobody's heard somebody say Sandbox for 4 years now.
I haven't heard
Um,
that in a while.
or those other attempts. One thing I do want to point out, another 3:30 a.m. thought that I got up and wrote down was
Nice. You write them down? That's smart.
occasionally, yeah, dude. What is I heard a comedian say one time that he'll get an idea for a joke while he's laying in bed, and he either has to get up and write it down or convince himself that it's not funny. And I'm like, yeah, it's a lot easier to write it down than convince yourself that it's not a good idea. You'll do that later when you look at it.
I gotta sleep by a pen and paper.
Yeah, dude. Oh yeah, brilliant. But
Do you do that, Grant?
No, I sleep like a rock. I don't wake up, and I just get up stunned and disoriented, so I have no thoughts. So, yeah.
yeah, can confirm.
Yeah.
Grant and I have been roommates before.
Yeah.
But there's Bitcoiners and there's future Bitcoiners. I think that's literally all there is. When you
I had a
talk
question
about
along
there
that
being
front,
Nostr
though.
here, yeah.
I had a question for you, Paul, along that front. And so you really astutely point out that the nature of social media is of ideological fracture, not just Blue Sky and Twitter, but Instagram, Facebook. They also each kind of have like an ideological substrata that is the user base kind of gravitates toward that because they know what they're getting as far as the social network that they're entering into. I'm not on Nostr. I'm the Nostr newbie here. I've liked how Lucas has kind of been nostr-pilling me, bringing on some guests here. But, you know, for Bitcoiners, it's easy for us to say freedom of speech. That's the obviously true and correct thing. But maybe there is a sizable portion of humanity who are not ideologically predisposed towards a Wild West freedom of speech that do like an idea of a big brother, a father figure controlling that speech so they're sure that they're not going to get, on the far extreme obscenity, but even closer, just like something that's going to put them in a state of animosity. So they're only going to hear kind of vetted messages. Is Nostr just always going to be kind of not for that portion of humanity that wants a more controlled speech atmosphere?
So not at all. It's the reason Nostr is free speech is because not one app can turn off your identity, but one app can block your ass and say anything coming from this npub, like, we don't want this guy here. He broke our rules. So like, it's just that you can just build these apps and have these your moderation policies. Something like Primal, we're going big. Like, we want to be the town square like many years in the future somehow. Don't know how we're going to get there, to be completely honest, but we do like really believe that Nostr is a better infrastructure for the town square. But that aside, like, if I was to ban someone from Primal, that'd be not beneficial for us because they would have to go to some other app to see the content. So, but that's that free speech part right there is like, you just can't cut anybody off from actually speaking, but you can get rid of somebody from like your individual experiences with whatever rules you have in your app. And there will be apps with those kind of rules.
There will be Blue Sky on Nostr. There will be Instagram on Nostr, and those will just be separate. You won't go through Primal. They'll just be separate constellations of free speech squares where people dial in the type of speech they want.
Yeah, because like it's hard to say, I want to make a healthier social media, but then what does that even mean?
Right.
You can go through a lot of different angles to that, but it's like, would I want my 16-year-old to be on there, like my 13-year-old? Like, that's a completely other question, like more of a parenting question, in my opinion. But yeah.
Hmm. When you talk about the like gravity of things moving towards Nostr and Primal, I guess, can you give us an idea of the growth that is occurring within Nostr, and also like where are we at in, if it's an S curve of adoption, kind of like Bitcoin and other new technologies? Are we kind of in a lull right now, or is activity on Nostr picking up? Is it kind of at a higher cadence, or is it kind of in a building chopping phase right now?
So we're definitely in a more of a build chop. We have decent like numbers in terms of people coming and like downloading the app and everything, but the retention is very dismal, to be honest. Just because people come, it's like, oh, social media, okay, and then none of their friends are there, or whatever. Um, so the retention isn't that great. And then we've had many spikes. So like, we'll have a spike when Telegram CEO gets thrown in jail. Then everybody's like, oh yeah, this whole Noster thing is important, and then they go away. But it's like, it's all going to happen at God's speed. But at the same time, maybe so far, the only marketing juice we've had is like, Nostr, that's like for the principles and the free speech and everything, and the people that actually come in and get that. So we've attracted a bunch of power users and a solid like base of people that aren't going to go away, that just are here, that are building on Nostr, that, have built their communities on Nostr as well. Um, that, yeah, I don't think that's ever going to go away. And it's like a solid foundation to keep building for these next waves of apps and potential users.
Yeah, and it is a solid foundation of people that are really hard to ignore because they're so intelligent. Jack
Yeah.
Dorsey and Jeff Booth and Lynn Alden come to mind as people that have really leaned into Nostr.
Yeah.
Can we back up just a little bit as far as, will you give us a little bit of like history of when did Nostr come into play, and how long have you been involved in the space, and what drew you to Nostr? How did you become the mascot of Nostr, and working for Primal,
Yeah.
being down in Bitcoin jungle, and being like leading this kind of, yeah, cultural revolution, I guess. It's a quiet start, but it's
Yeah.
getting louder for sure.
I appreciate it. I'm stoked you can hear some of the waves.
Yeah,
Um,
dude.
so Nostr was created around 2020, actually, by this guy named Fiat Jeff. Um, Interestingly enough, he was one of the people that was on the team to try to make Blue Sky. So this whole idea of Nostr and a protocol for social media has been around for a while and kind of been in Jack's head and like out there. Like, we need this. We can't just be communicating through companies and companies only. But in 2022, late December of 2022 is when the jackening occurred. I think it was literally like December 22nd, 2022. But fact check me on that. And there's this massive tweet thread about, kind of the mistakes he had, something about the Twitter files. And then people kept tweeting at him, Nostr, check out Nostr, check out Nostr. And he checked it out. And then he was able to take his private key and use it in another app and still post from that. And he had this light bulb moment. He read all the specs in the GitHub and he was like, this is exactly what I've been philosophizing about. And he made a tweet about it. And he publicly said that he'll donate 14 Bitcoin to Fiat Jeff, the creator of Nostr. And it went super viral and everybody was like trying it out. And the UX was so bad that you felt like a complete hacker in there, like when you figured out how to post an image or, connect to relays. And now all that, you don't even have to think about that when you come to Nostr. Like, but that was a fun time. And then shortly after that, and I believe it was already just March of 2023, is that how soon it happened? We had Nostr Rica. So I'm down here in Costa Rica and this whole Nostr thing just happened to happen like literally 10 miles over there. Dorsey showed up, like a bunch of people showed up, and it was like, and Emilion, the founder of Primal, was there. I didn't even know him at that time. I don't even know if I shook his hand or anything when he was down here, but he showed up, and this thing just captured the minds of a whole bunch of people. And like Milion, the founder of Primal, was trying to create a protocol for social media as well. But it just turns out this Nostr thing, which was dead simple, was the best way to do it. And I had been working for Paul Saladino, who's a creator in into the health space, and he's dabbled in the Bitcoin space a little bit as well, and lives
Big meat
down,
guy, right?
Mhm.
big meat guy.
Big meat guy.
And part of that story kind of fixes into this too, because started to work for him right after he got canceled and shut off for COVID. So he just started to rebuild his accounts, and I was like brought on to just. I met him in the jungle, and I was like, "Dude, I need work." And he's like, "Dude, I need help." I was like, "Thank God." Like I want to live in the jungle, but I'm broke. Like help. So I got to work for him for a while, and my light bulb moment, and I still think this is how social media should be, is that one identity for each of your content types. Because I would help them out. It's like, I got to go into YouTube to post. Now I got to go into Instagram, and now I got to go into TikTok, and now I got to go to all this stuff to post the same content. One that's it's just like a waste of time and kind of weird that you have to restart from zero in every single app. So I like this idea of one identity for each content type. So that whole banning and then that whole like vision of that kind of got me somewhat obsessed with Nostr and the fact that the people I looked up to were there. So I would just kind of hang out. And then I wanted to go to Japan. So I went to the second Nostr conference, just like Jeff Booth says, if you start putting your energy towards something, like these opportunities line up. And next thing you know, they needed, like, I just started working for Primal. I just made all these friends, and it just kind of flowed perfectly. Like, I had some skills and they needed some help. And um, here we are today.
One thing you said that I really want to focus on, you talk about like kind of the killer feature or basically a big sales point beyond free speech for Nostr is that you get one sign in. So I love this idea. I have one digital identity, and that digital identity is consistent among my music player, and it's consistent among my Twitter type feed and my Instagram type, and it'll be consistent on Shopster. We're going to have Christian Alvarez, the Calvadev, the founder of Shopster, on next week,
He's a cool guy.
which is a decentralized shopping platform. But one thing that as you're talking about having these different identities for different apps, it truly is a different identity. I'm a different person when I post
Yeah.
on X than when I post on X, I'm introspective and I'm thoughtful. When I post on Instagram, I'm shallow and I'm vain. when I,
Same.
right. And so, I think that this fragmenting of our souls and our psyches that we feel as a result of being pulled in all these different directions due to trying to please different online masters.
You see it, man. Yeah,
Yeah, I think we'll be
exactly.
able to come out of that, hopefully. Like, it's a
Yeah,
dawn, right?
I think it's like a soul thing as well. Like you're literally each well, I mean, it's kind of true in Nostr as well. Maybe you craft a message to talk to Bitcoiners or something, but like Nostr has made me rethink all my actions on social media.
Yeah.
Like well, first of all, you're renting an identity in each of these platforms, and you're this like faux version of yourself that's just a cog in their machine to like suck profit off of everybody. And then you're feeding it by like adapting your messaging and your videos or your content to just serve an algorithm, because you are serving the algorithm. You're not serving your audience. You're just making these videos or whatever your content is just to like hit the algorithm in a specific way. And that's completely changed the way we communicate today. And I'm not sure it's just obviously like an evolution in the way we communicate. But the fact that like these few corporations and the algorithms that are black boxes that the companies probably don't even understand completely what's going on, like have that much power to whether to get a message out there or to rabbit hole someone, or it's a little bit spooky and strange. And this is like part of the opportunity that we have with Nostr. It's like algorithm choice, different algorithms for different apps. Um, yeah, it's like such a potential to heal the way we communicate using our phones, which is this brand new medium of communication that we're just getting used to as humanity. But it's beautiful. It's gotten me here. It's kept me here. It's connected us. Like, it's really cool. I got some friends, that just really just so they hate tech and don't want to touch tech. Like I live in the jungle. There's a bunch of hippies out here, but there's definitely some sort of a fine balance that I think we can find. And that's just tech like created for humanity. That's like I used to work for Daylight Computer, and that's a computer that
Amazing.
um is built for humans instead of us continually adapting to our tech. And I
Yeah.
think we can kind of take those same similar principles of like and make a better digital experience as well.
Yeah, I think the goal of technology should be when you're a young child, they tell you that you should be seen and not heard. Um, and I think the goal of technology should be both to not be seen and not be heard. Um, I want to just be able to speak my thoughts and have them down. I don't want to have to do this. I remember listening to a Huberman podcast one time, and he was talking about what happens in the brain when you write, because it is truly a form of art. But what happens in your brain when you tap is nothing. It's just basically white
Shoot.
white noise, right?
Well, I'm
Um,
nervous to listen to that one. I haven't
yeah,
written in a while.
exactly. Yeah, and it makes you think, and you like reconnect with the thing that makes your soul breathe, I guess. Um, Really beautiful. I want to ask about Primal. So I use Primal, and I think one of the things that makes it easier for me to walk through life now is to think that I'm not special. I think I'm probably pretty normal. I'm probably about like everybody else. So I got a Nostr account in 2023. And I didn't really use it at all until when I was at the network school. These last 7 months in Malaysia, I would
You went?
host. Yeah, yeah, dude.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool. I want to hear about
yeah.
that.
I worked for Balaji. Um, but I would host these Thursday night music concerts, and one of the guys there was two guys there that were Nostr bad boys, Calvadev,
Calvadev.
and I forgot
Uh,
the other guy's name. He's a German dude.
Arjun?
What is it?
Arjun?
No, it's a
It's
German dude.
Yeah, yeah.
For man.
I just
Anyways,
met him because he was at the network school too.
sweet dude. Yeah.
No, it's gonna bug me. Anyways.
But anyway, so they were like, "Hey, we want to zap you sats for playing this show." So they showed me Nostrudel Ninja. So I'm playing up there. I've got a TV to the side. It's got a QR code, and it links directly to a note. So it's like it's the equivalent is I make a post on Twitter, and then I show that post to people, and they can just directly send me Bitcoin, which was really, really cool. But I'm currently using Primal, and I'm using Fountain. I'm a musician, so I post my music on Fountain. I put the podcast on Fountain, trying to grow. I've got like 60 some followers. And I wanted you to be able to have the opportunity to kind of sell the high points of what Primal does really well, and also what Primal is trying to do better. I would tell you, like, my experience is that it's a pretty good emulator of X. It's not bad. It's a little slower, but I think that's just because there's not 50 million relays out in the world yet. I would assume that's why. But other than that, yeah, can you kind of give me an idea of like, where is Primal? What is Primal doing? And yeah, what can we expect from Primal in the future?
I can't tell you.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
But it's gonna make sense, and I'm so freaking excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be
Okay.
great. But let me tell you a little bit about Primal's DNA. If you can't already tell, we're a bunch of Bitcoiners.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, I think we have this roundabout way to onboard millions to Bitcoin, and I'm not kidding. Without them even like feeling it. It's just because right now you think of the onboarding way to Bitcoin and you got to listen to a bazillion podcasts and then you go to an exchange and you give all your life away and then then you maybe buy some Bitcoin and it just sits there and you have no use for it.
And then you hate the government with a
Then you
deep, deep passion.
you
And
get there around hour 3000, but
yeah, full anarchy hits about the third weekend.
um, but anyways, this whole experience of people coming on to Primal, giving a nice welcome post, and then them receiving Bitcoin is like this new interesting way to onboard people and just have them touch it because Bitcoin's actually alive. It's this native internet money that travels smoothly over the internet, and it's a cool way to like get people playing with it in the beginning. Um, but besides that, you said like what are the big plans for Primal? I can't really talk about that, but I think I mean we're going for it. Like if you can't tell, we're kind of just trotting along right now. Like the whole up until this point, it's like, yeah, we've attracted power users to Nostr that kind of get the principles and everything, and people might come over and suffer from sometimes worse UX, but we do think that we can match the UX of like the big players, and we're going to keep building towards that and see what happens. And we're
What
going to
are the
get
what
into
are
big.
the limitations on the UX? Is it just
There's
is it
not.
relays?
So no, so Primal works differently. So Primal does what's called like caching and indexing the posts. So we read from a caching server. So it's like we download everything. So it's it almost works like a regular social media app, but we actually pull all the info from the relays. So it's like a smoother way to use Nostr, and it's all open source. Anybody could do this as well. That's why it tends to be a little bit quicker than other apps. Now, yes, with long form videos, and videos can get a little difficult right now in our early stages, and like heavier videos don't upload well and don't play very well. So there's some limitations there and growing pains that we'll have to go through, but we'll see over time. We'll be able to fix those.
Nice.
And
Grant,
yeah, no, I
go
had a
for it.
question. So you were talking earlier, and I really appreciate this kind of how we make our tools and then our tools remake us, kind of the feeling that we get when we're on social media, and how Nostr and Primal has been a liberating feeling for you and kind of has changed the way that you experience social media, maybe that you interact with the world as well. And I think about a couple of things on Twitter X that really kind of make the existential malaise set in, make me feel bad. You mentioned the algorithmic kind of being hijacked by algorithms, and that's one thing that Nostr can take care of. What about just the slop content, like the AI generated, people just throwing stuff out there that is bad. And then also that and kind of the propaganda element of sock puppet accounts and not knowing what, if some account is just a vector for a state apparatus trying to mold opinion. Does Nostr slash Primal have some sort of immunity to those things, slop and propaganda?
So the slop, that's interesting because so is like Rabble when he's reintroducing Divine, he's gonna have some sort of like a AI filter. We'll see if it works.
Nice.
You know, like kind of like a proof of human thing. Like this was shot from a real iPhone, stuff like that. And then the second piece, I think what we're getting into is like this whole concept of a web of trust, which is like the people that you follow, and you can have these web of trust filters. So like if you maybe won't see content from people that, you know, you're not, that aren't connected to you somehow. Um, so that's one way to filter bots. Like if nobody's following this person that um is just shouting into the void, or, you know, trying to be this like state actor, whatever you're saying, like, but it's since it's a permissionless network, we're gonna definitely be hit by more bots as we go in over time. And I don't want to say we have the perfect solution right now. It's we're gonna grow, but we've been like attacked before, and then we grow, we figured out what happened, and we adapt. Um,
Yeah, it strikes me that there's maybe not a perfect solution because it's going to be trade-offs. It's going to be, how easy is it for a new person to get into a network so they are not screaming into the void while simultaneously keeping out the bots and malicious actors. So yeah, I
and
don't know
then
how you do that.
I had another. Well, yeah, it's gonna be complicated, but it's possible with this whole web of trust idea. Um,
Kind of like a
and
vouching system, right? Like the
exactly.
web of trust. Yeah, yeah,
And that's kinda how we prove that we're human too. Oh, Paul verified that guy? Oh, they went to,
exactly.
Nostr? That's probably a real human. That npub is probably run by a real human. So that's probably what's gonna end up happening. I mean, that gets a little bit philosophical, and I don't know, those discussions are fun to have, and maybe for those, you know, Gigi and Pablo?
Yeah, yeah. Not
Yeah,
Pablo, but Gigi. Yeah.
Gigi, yeah. I mean, he has this idea of, like, proof of work plus web of trust fixes 99% of the internet. So the proof of work is, like, maybe you somehow pay lightning, or like you can see how many times they zapped. It's like, oh, that's a real human too. Maybe you can have filters like that. Like a bot wouldn't be zapping, maybe. Um, but I had another thought. Oh yeah, part of this AI slop thing is it's so hard to take your eyes off
Hmm.
Yeah, it's pretty
sometimes. Or
badass
like,
when you see a bear walking through the woods,
yeah,
like rapping to Eminem wearing a bikini. It's pretty sweet, to be
exactly.
completely honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, part of that's like hijacking you a little bit. But also there's this, you wouldn't really repost it, but maybe the algos see that you're spending a lot of time there,
Yeah.
and will shove that to you. 'Cause that's definitely one of the metrics, like how much time was spent there, right? And I'll give you a little idea of what Primal wants to do is we wanna monetize your time saved instead of monetize your time spent like all the other
Nice.
platforms do.
Nice.
So it because I mean, look at me, man, I just wanna go touch grass and surf, like,
Right.
that's part of our DNA as well, like, but we obviously see how powerful of a tool social media is.
To kind of go a little further on touch grass and surf, you're in Bitcoin jungle and you've
Yeah.
made I've heard you talk about this. You're a SoCal boy. You came from San Diego, made the drive all the way across. Video, kind of diaried your drive away to Costa Rica, and you've been living there. Was it 3-4 years now in
Yeah,
the
something
Bitcoin
like that.
jungle?
Mhm.
And kind of so me used to be a banker, musician, but I was just in the Midwest in like a 4 or 5 state area. And then when I found Bitcoin, quit the job, started traveling the world, lived in Colombia, Morocco. I was at the network school, kind of all over. And so I'm really interested in finding these network school type locations, which are, values aligned people that are living together in a safe, or not safe, but well, safe if you want, but in a healthy and harmonious way.
Yeah.
Um, can you kind of I mean, there's a lot of people that don't really know what the Bitcoin jungle is. Can you just give an overview of that and kind of tell us what it's like to be there?
Yeah, man, I mean, this is why, 'cause my eyes kinda lit up when you said you were at the network school. I love this idea,
Yeah, dude,
and
it's wild.
yeah, we have a movie about Bitcoin Jungle coming out, like, I think it's actually done, and we're working on a trailer, and it's like, how do we release a movie? I have no idea, but we're just gonna put it out there and see what happens, 'cause it's, like, legit. I can't wait. So that'll tell the whole story, but yeah, man, I live 100% off Bitcoin. I just went to the market and bought everything I need: raw milk, meat, fruit, smoothies, a cookie, all in Bitcoin, and it's happening. Oh my god, I actually got a whiff of got a look at our raw milk's guy's wallet today. Guy's
Hmm.
stacking. It's amazing. But anyway, it's like the whole network school, network state book and everything, and I went to the conference in Singapore a couple of years ago, and I'm like, I swear what we have going on down here is like the most organic version of that in the
It
world, man.
is. It is. This was my 10:30 PM thought last night.
Yeah,
It
like,
it is. Yeah, because it's the organic growth. Like, the
yeah,
network school is this intentional attempt, but Bitcoin jungle is organic growth.
it's it. Like, and now it's slow because it is organic, super decentralized. We don't have any funding. It's just like kind of the boys putting together stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we got a little co-working house now, and it's like, yeah, everybody in there is on Nostr, and you kinda like we have it pretty close, like, we don't really invite many people, but, you know, it's kinda just friends of friends, web of trust, um, and, yeah, pretty soon, Saladino is gonna be announcing that, um, he's bought place, and we're gonna get people in with the health stuff, so we're gonna have that side and the
Nice.
Bitcoiners down here, and I'm like, "Oh my god," and I'm the link, and I'm like, dude, this is actually it because Balaji always talks about Brian Johnson being like this ideological leader, and he's the opposite of Salad, which is I think is hilarious because he's like vegetarian, he's like super white, doesn't go in the sun, um, but yeah, has like this ideology about health and is a community leader, and then being able to source people from the internet to a specific place, and that's all slowly happening here. People are mostly just kind of passing through and visiting, but, there's definitely a lot of Bitcoiners that live here and ones that I don't even know. Just like yesterday, I went out to eat at dinner and I was like, "Oh, somebody else is paying Bitcoin?" And she was like, "Yeah." I was like, "I didn't see anybody I knew." And I feel like I know everybody, but, you know? So it's like kinda happening organically down here and, um, it's cool. It's like, I have no idea what's gonna happen, but I think humans are gonna keep on moving to places that are healthy and easy to live a healthy life. And there's
Yeah.
something special about Costa Rica because, well, there's no army. The fruit is so abundant, the food and just it's a cool place to be in the world. And I think people will keep moving here. And hopefully the right people will too. Like everybody that comes here seems to just want to give back to the land and keep it preserved and live in harmony with nature and the locals and everything. So it's really beautiful to see and it's really cool for me to live my thesis about Bitcoin because, you know, if you have an opinion and don't live by that opinion, I feel like you're a fraud, especially when you're able to spend Bitcoin everywhere. Like, so
Yeah.
I like to, you know, completely do the thing. Um, and yeah, it's like a little bright star that just kind of formed organically, kind of showing the world what can be done.
How many people are there, like, roundabout? I mean, I think the network school is around, like, 160 now. I think probably the most is probably 180, kinda goes up and down every month. Like you said, like there's a lot of in and out.
Yeah.
But, like, is that fairly comparable, to, say, the size of the community down there in Costa Rica?
Well, I mean, it's kind of spread out too. Like it's mostly this area where I'm at. Um, Yeah, I don't wanna overcook the numbers. We could say around 100 probably that are, like, you know,
Nice.
pretty ideologically aligned and, you know, here around. Maybe some are quieter than others. I'm kinda loud.
You're a neat guy, man. You're a neat guy. I really do enjoy hearing you talk and the energy that you bring. You were a baseball dude before you were a surfer.
Yeah,
I do like your swing. Is that a Griffey swing
yeah.
or is
That
that
was
a
my,
Soto swing or what?
no, I started switch hitting as a junior in college. I was like,
Dude,
I rode the bench for 2 years, and I was like, "I'm just gonna switch hit, man." I've wanted to hit lefty my whole life and then
no
actually
way.
started hitting, yeah.
I
So
started switch hitting when I was 7. I was
really?
like, I wanted to be like George Brett, and I was like,
Really?
oh, he bats left-handed. So
Yeah.
where'd you play at?
I went to a small school called Vanguard in Southern California. And ended up playing all 4 years, and yeah, I love baseball.
So do I. Yeah, it's the best
That's
sport, dude.
Bitcoin at 10,000,000 is we're freaking making baseball fields down here, and there's a bunch of Nicaraguans down here too, and they love baseball.
Yeah, they do.
So, yeah, we'll fire them up, and we'll get some teams going, and kids will be able to play baseball. That'd be the dream.
I mean, this idea of the networks that I talked to Lucas about this quite a bit. I see why it appeals to people. I see why going somewhere to form an autonomous community with similarly aligned people where you can just start anew is a very powerful driving motivation. But, kind of the opposite or parallel idea is the idea of roots, right? That you have somewhere and that is your place, kind of unchosen, just because it's the place where you started. Do you still feel that pull from in Southern California? And do you think is it possible to have, similar to what you're doing in Bitcoin Jungle, something there, or is the social context, the political context just not viable for that?
That's a great question. And did you call roots roots?
Oh, no,
Yeah,
my roots my
we're
roots
from
are showing.
Kansas.
My roots are
Roots.
showing. That's a
Yeah.
Is
We're
that
Bitcoin
roots
is
are
that a
Prairie
showing.
thing.
Kansas thing?
I
Yeah, yeah.
suppose, man. It's a ignorant hick thing here. That's how we talk, so
I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever heard that.
The creek is the crick.
the creek is the yeah, yeah. So
Nice. Anyways,
Roots.
yes. So that's a tricky question. I just had my first baby,
yeah.
and we've had so Laura's parents. She's from Italy. So she's from Italy. I'm from California. We live in Costa Rica. So it's kind of a mess, but like it's a beautiful mess. I like
Right.
it. We just had her parents around, and my parents are coming in on the 1st of February, and we've been back home too. And it's like, oh, it's so right. We're really blessed to have a great family and get along with our in-laws and our parents. But yeah, just having grandma around to just sit with baby all day while I do my metaverse thing for a little
Mhm.
bit or go surf. Um, it's like, this is so right. Having this help around, they're cooking and everything for us. Um, so like leaving the family, yeah, it's tough. I don't know if I mean, you play it out. It's like Balaji talks about this too. Like governments and cities should be, yeah, begging for people to come
Begging for you to
live
stay.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
They
a
should be
hotel. You want to
competing for you.
attract people.
Right.
Yeah, exactly, competing for you. And it seems like the opposite of that happens in California.
Right.
Guys, get out of here. You got too much money or something. Get out of here.
Mhm.
It's stupid. But yeah, that's a tough question. The whole roots and everything. Like, I don't know. We're definitely evolving into another species.
Yeah.
Like Balaji talks about, we went from hunter gatherers to farmer warriors, and now we're these digital nomads, which are kind of like another version of hunter gatherers, in my opinion. So my dream would be to kind of visit these different pockets around the world with my family, and go see other families and other waves for me, but in the world who are kind of building these little hubs that are going to be ideologically aligned. Have my food that I want to eat. Um, and have the lifestyle I want to live around the world. So I feel
Yeah.
like that's kind of naturally happening slowly.
And it seems like a natural American archetype too, the pioneer. Our nation was defined for a while that we had an expanding border in the interior. You could always go west. The people who are full of entrepreneurial spirit or the desire to own something could always move. And then that
Mhm.
kind of, that ended in the 1800s at some point, and our border maybe turned inward or something like that. But that pioneer spirit, it lives on in people like you. So it is just it's a very American thing. It's a very yeah, it's a very natural and laudable thing, I think, too.
Yeah. I'm starting to kind of realize like how much America has programmed me to be such a Bitcoiner. You
Mhm.
guys feel that too sometimes?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
I mean, look
sure.
at your truck in the back.
Yeah, dude.
That's
Well,
not
like,
AI, is it?
no. Oh, no. Yeah,
Nice.
it is cold, and there's the internet on my folks' farm is horrific. So I'm sitting in my buddy Rex's garage, and yeah, it's this place. But like Balaji talks about, like internet values are American values. They're the ones that we founded America on. Like this American idea of like freedom of speech and the freedom to transact and everything. Like the internet values of Bitcoin and Nostr are very American at heart.
Yeah. And this is where I fall off. And I'm kind of curious, Lucas, like since you're out there, like I don't understand Web3 people.
Everybody's a
Or like
future Bitcoiner. Yeah.
I just don't understand. Like what we have
Yeah.
with Nostr and Zaps, it's like an identity and money, and it's actually usable as money and being accepted all the places around the world. Like I kind of don't understand these other systems. Like, and I can't steel man them yet though.
Yeah.
Can you like help me into there? Like I was thinking
Yeah.
about going over there, but I don't know. I heard you can't even swim in the water over there.
That it's you don't want to swim in the water, that's for sure. Yeah, the Strait of Johor between Forest City, which is the man-made, as I describe it, it's a fake island with a ghost city and a real billionaire and 150 autistic tech nerds from 120 different countries. Uh, yeah, it's quite the deal. But no, you don't want to. They got saltwater crocodiles too.
Boy,
So yeah, they got the big
we got
ones.
some of those down here.
Really? Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
cool. Okay.
yeah.
But so when you ask about that, I mean, I wondered about that too, because one of the things that I did was I thought I would go there and be surrounded by Bitcoiners, and I was not. Um, and so one of the things I ended up doing was I taught a lecture series called Money, Inflation, and Bitcoin in order to try and hopefully inoculate against some of that. But I think the Web3 people, I just think that's a symptom of bad money. I think the US dollar failing and any fiat currency failing, I think that's what encourages people to look for short-term gains. That's why Robinhood is just effectively a betting app now. That's why
Yeah,
sports betting has exploded. Um,
Coinbase too. Yeah.
yeah, and so it's just an opportunity for all of these people who are rightfully feeling but don't know how to describe the feeling that they have, which is that my future has been taken from me without my vote. Like when a government unilaterally prints trillions of dollars, stealing money from the future, from the productive capacity of their citizens, that's their future. That's the future of their citizens that they're stealing. And so when you go over there and you see those, neck bearded, glazed eyes, ramped up on Celsius and vodka type, let's send Zek to the moon type of thing,
Yeah.
that I think that's just a symptom of that. And I used to fight against it, and I used to really be very kind of like adamant about like you're going down the wrong path. But now, like I said, my 3:30 a.m. thought was just that there's literally two types of people in the world. There's Bitcoiners and there's future Bitcoiners. And I want to have a lot of empathy for those people that are future Bitcoiners because I understand the desperation that they are living in, trying to get their Solana bags pumped, trying to, whatever, yield farming, aura farming, hype farming, whatever it all comes down to. And I truly do think that people aren't born that way. I don't think people are born that way.
Yeah, like Primal too, like because there's some other iterations of Web3 now with the whole Base app and Zora. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're familiar with those two
Yeah,
things.
the base team was at network school for a while. Yeah.
And it's just like all this hype, and then now every piece of content is this tradable thing that you make money if it goes viral. It's like, what are the incentives going on? Like
Yeah.
this is disgusting. Like,
Yep. Yep.
but yeah, it's just all these people want to make a buck because they know everything's just getting more expensive over time somehow, even though technology is getting better. And yeah, a lot of my friends, I have a lot of normie friends still, especially my surf friends, and they don't really understand why I don't necessarily want to buy a house right now, or why I
Hmm.
won't just like buy a car,
Yep.
and why I just say, no, I'll wait. I'll just buy Bitcoin. Well, not even buy, but just hold Bitcoin. Um, and then I think about it, it's like, yeah, this whole money burning a hole in your pocket thing is this whole fiat construct because it's
Exactly.
burning a hole in your pocket because it's not going to be worth anything later in the future. So you got to spend it now. And then just how much Bitcoin like rewires your brain when you know that it's going to be there and preserve your time in the future. And when you've put in the work to kind of come to that conclusion and be able to sit with that, yeah, it really changes a human.
How do you feel about ownership? So I'm the same way. I used to be a banker. I used to put people in debt every day. I owned a house. I owned a tour bus. I owned a lot of things. And then I found Bitcoin and I sold literally everything. Um, and I've counseled like my little sisters, who are, they're newly married and they want to start families and they're like, oh, we want to buy a house. And I'm like, please God, don't buy a house. Like, just please do not do that.
Yeah.
Um, But it does take me to this dangerous place where I think of whoever that fat Santa is that speaks for the World Economic Forum
Mhm.
that says you will own nothing and you will be happy. Um, and I'm to a point now where I actually own close to nothing. I wouldn't say that I'm happy all the time, but I know that I'm happier than I would be if I were paying a mortgage. Um, so I guess kind of spiritually, like, what does that do to you? Like, I become a Bitcoiner and you become not a minimalist, but you become a maximalist on life experience and a
Oh my God, yeah, exactly.
minimalist on on ownership. So
I've
yeah,
had the
what's
exact
that
same
done to you?
process of thoughts. Like
Yeah.
the last before Laura's parents left, I just like went over to the Caribbean side and just got super barreled and had a lot of fun and spent some money getting over there and everything. But it was like, I gotta go do this. And it's just, yeah, like experiences every day, like how I want to live. That's how kind of the freedom that Bitcoin's given me a little bit. It's just it tells me what's important, how I want to spend my time, what I want to pursue. Um, and then the ownership thing's hilarious because I've gotten to the same point. I don't want anything. I kind of just want to be able to go where I want to go. Um, and this could all change. And I right now it's just like, yeah, be the best Paul and figure out how to make myself able to earn money and build primal and use my skills to make a better world. How crazy. But and just saving money. But the whole own nothing and be happy meme is completely me.
Yeah.
But you put yourself in
Isn't it
somebody
weird?
else's shoes. Yeah. Say you're a really, really successful business guy. You're not going to own nothing and be happy. Maybe. Then you got the Telegram CEO who's pretty much own nothing and be happy too.
Doesn't even have a phone.
Doesn't that's I really do admire that.
109
Uh,
kids, but no phone.
yeah, yeah, I admire that. And he's working in tech and doesn't have a phone. It's hilarious. But there's definitely something there, and I think about that a lot too. I just kind of rambled, but we'll see. I put myself in somebody else's shoes where really the cash flow is significant. It's like, okay, maybe I would buy the house, have maybe a couple houses or something. I don't know. Maybe I would make a paddle court down the street so I can
Mm,
go play paddle every day. Make a business and yeah, have other stuff take up my time, but not at that point yet. So it's like, s- stay humble, focus on your craft, stack sats.
yeah.
So you
Yeah.
described kind of the traditional Bitcoiner arc earlier, just in general fashion, where you move through the stages of studying, shitcoining, et cetera, et cetera. Is that what you went through, or did you have some defining like podcast, book, article, or the moment when you got it, something that was the orange pill moment for you?
I don't remember. But yeah, but what's interesting is like I kind of had legacy shitcoins. Like I hadn't been um purchasing any shitcoins for a few years, I think, but they're still in my bag. Just like I don't want to sell KYC, blah blah blah,
Right.
whatever. Taxes. It was interesting when I moved down here and I didn't have a job, and it's like I do not want to touch my Bitcoin, and it's like okay, I cleansed myself completely. It's like, then you really start seeing clearly. Then I think of Balaji, we keep bringing him up. This guy is loaded with shit coins and he's friends with all these shit coins, like Solana people. And you could see it in his eyes that he's like tired and not healthy. I'm like, dude, you just got to cleanse your bags. But, anyways, that's my personal opinion of what's going on there. I could be completely wrong, but
I am definitely clipping that, and I'm sending it to the founding director. Yeah.
um,
Oh, yeah. That's
because
awesome.
he's at the network state conference. He's holding his maxi Bitcoin thing, and he's like just interviewing the founder of Zcash. Like, oh man,
Yeah.
what's going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, but there wasn't really too much of a moment. But I feel like I talk about this in every podcast. I when I was driving down here, I was listening to a bunch of books and podcasts and everything, and it was like I think it was a Breedlove podcast actually, and he went through this mind experiment of what would you do if you were a billionaire? How would you spend every minute of the day, of every day? And that really clarified things for me. It's like, okay, for some reason I freaking love to surf. That'll be my thing. I'll be in warm water every day surfing. And then I didn't know what to work on, but my thought was, I'll just work on something important. Because I've also been on these surf trips that went too long, and it's like, what am I doing with my life? You know, like
Yeah.
I think there's something inside all of us that wants to give back and make the world a better place. So I was like, okay, work on something important, and something came to me, and then also the family piece, which and it's cool. Like I got all that now. It's crazy. Now I gotta really vision the next piece.
And I just
Yeah,
love the way
there's a
though, or go ahead, Lucas.
no,
Well,
actually, I'm always more excited to hear what you have to say than what comes dribbling
Well,
out of my
I was
mouth.
just gonna reflect, calling the orange pill moment as a deep cleanse. You kind of it's kind of jokingly in relation to biology or whatever, but it is like once you begin to get a bunch of other things in order and deep cleanse from kind of the dopamine pumps that our society gives us to cleanse to take back parasitically the fiat that it also bestows upon us. Once you deep cleanse from all of that, it does really scales drop and your eyes open anew. Like you're doing a dopamine fast, aren't you still, Lucas?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So I read
Yep.
Paul. I read Anna Lemke's book, Dopamine Nation, and there's protocol in there for like what can you do to reset your neurological system. You know, because especially you go to the network school, you're hyper exposed to socialization, you're hyper exposed to Web3, all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, I'm doing pretty well in my dopamine fast. I'm like staying off sugar, staying off social media, still having a little coffee, but that's about it. Yeah.
that's amazing.
It's
Awesome.
going well. Yeah, like and like getting into ketosis is really it's a really a mind-changing experience, a mind-altering experience.
Can agree.
Yeah.
So no fruit then. Yeah, you're in ketosis. You're not really doing much fruit at all.
I literally have been like walking to the refrigerator and carving off like 2 tablespoons of butter and just like gnawing on butter. I'm like, this is awesome. This
Man,
is so cool.
did you have a gnarly keto flu?
Uh I had a how can I put this gracefully? I had a I had a bad experience trying to make it to the restroom.
Okay,
I think
understood.
we could leave it at that.
Yeah. But you didn't
Yeah.
get like gnarly headaches?
Nope.
Last
Did
time I did a
did you?
little carnivore experiment, I had gnarly keto flu. Gnarly, because I eat a lot of sugar down here. Like I'm sugared out because I mean, look around me. Of course, we're supposed to eat sugar in the jungle. Like, come on.
Right.
But really, in the winter in Kansas, I don't know how much fruit you're supposed to be having. You know,
That's right.
Yeah, the only fruit in Kansas is in Lawrence. Eh,
Huh.
that's a KU joke, sorry. Like the San Francisco of the Midwest. Uh, yeah,
but
let's
yeah, I
keep
had a
going.
gnarly keto flu. That's a gnarly dopamine, like, the food, that's why I literally would recommend everybody do carnivore, especially dudes, for a month, just to prove that you can do it, because it's like an act of discipline that's difficult.
Yeah, I lived in Colombia for a couple months, and when I first got there, I was living in a cabin in the Andes Mountains, like 30 miles away from anybody, and the only way I could get supplies was to have somebody come pick me up. When I first got there, I went to this carniceria, a butcher, and I bought a ton of meat, but there was no grocery store, so I literally couldn't buy anything but meat. So I just ate meat for like 3 weeks straight. It was this natural experiment in carnivorism. It was insane. Like I felt incredible. My skin was very clear. My host showed up to pick me up like 3 weeks later, and they're like, "You look like 5 years younger than when we saw you when you got off the plane."
Dude, it's crazy.
Um, yeah, it's and I lost like 17 pounds.
Whoa.
Um, yeah, it's really crazy what it'll do for you and make you feel really, really, really good.
Yeah.
Um,
My
yeah,
brain was so on.
yeah,
It is crazy, like,
and
keto brain's nuts.
it's
You know, those
unsettling.
3 AM thoughts must be
Yeah,
insane.
it's unsettling a little bit too because you're like, dude, my brain wants to keep going and my body is like wore out. Like I need to rest. But yeah, the brain is pushing you on and really making you run.
I wonder
Um,
what that mechanism is, sorry.
no,
I've
no,
always thought
that's
about that, like,
yeah,
why
just ketones, bro.
is it just but yeah, like a starvation thing or not even? You can't just two different ways to operate, I guess.
I mean, it's also
Yeah.
you're eliminating other things that were in your diet that might have been like mildly inflammatory or your body was having some sort of reaction to them. So it's, when you radically reduce your diet to one thing, you begin to see just the host of environmental factors that may have been playing into, I think.
Do you fast too, Paul?
Would you say, do I fast? Yeah, I've done quite a few fasts in my life, and I love
Yeah.
it.
It's
It's like
amazing.
it's a superpower.
Yep.
But I've
Yep.
kind of programmed my brain to only be able to do stuff when I tell the internet about it.
Good. Good.
But like, they're my accountability
Yeah.
buddies because I can't feel like a liar to them if I
Yeah.
say I'm going to fast and I break the fast. Like, no, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. So
You're
that's a
such a you've got such a radiant, genuine personality. Like it's so much fun to talk to somebody who like said like I mean total baseball bro. Like total guy that just wanted to play sports and
yeah.
probably, like enjoy that, but to find your way into this. I wanted to change a little bit, go back to Nostr. What are other projects in Nostr that you're excited about, like outside of Primal? We're bringing on Calvadev. He's going to tell us about Shopster. Maybe we'll get Nick from Fountain. He's been
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic to work with. Um, but yeah, like what are some of the other projects, and where do you see the momentum right now in Nostr?
You know what's cool? Let's talk about the whole shop space and everything. There's this organic, like, shopping experience happening on Nostr right now. And like people will just zap for goods and services. Like, for example, I got a couple different things coming to my house from my mom when she comes down here that have come to the jungle that I bought on Nostr. Like,
Okay.
and just the checkout and the experience of just walking around with the wallet in your app and just bzz, that's mine. Man, I want to see one day like a gnarly marketplace, maybe in Primal or just super interoperable. Like maybe in Primal, there's a button to go to shops or stuff like that. Cause that's a cool experience. It's kind of just feels liberating. I don't know. Um, and then another project I'm really excited about that has actually, I think the biggest team in Nostr now is White Noise. Have you heard of them? So that's like a signal killer, signal replacement. It's got very similar, and then this is my normie way of seeing things, but maybe that's the best way. It's very similar to Signal in terms of the protocol they use and why it has privacy, but then it leverages Nostr for the identity piece and the decentralization piece. So no phone number, of course, is needed. You can just generate any identity, like, and then you can share that with your friends. Like, here's how to contact me. And then instead of Signal has one database, so like one relay, one server where all the messages are stored, so central point of failure. Whereas Nostr, there's no central point of failure. The messages travel through relays. So like this is the decentralized open
Hmm.
source unstoppable messaging app, which is pretty rad. And when they catch up to the UX of at least Signal, it's kind of interesting. That could be a big and actually their infrastructure as well can be just thrown into Primal as our DMs now. Like, hey, we got the best, most private DMs by default.
Yeah.
Like we can't see who you were talking to. We can't see what's in the message. No metadata is leaked, meaning, yeah, we don't see who talked to who. The network wouldn't see that. It's all private. And that's kind of this whole thing has been philosophized about for forever. And now it's like here and working. And then I can actually send messages over it and photos and yeah.
We just
So I'm
we just
excited about
talked
that.
we just talked to Max Hillebrand,
There you
and
go. Yeah.
I think he mentioned that there's been recently like a significant upgrade in the security of Nostr messaging. Is
Yes.
that what he's referring to? Is he
Yeah. I'm
referring to the
surprised he didn't actually just say white noise, the
so
app. He's kind
where's
of
White Noise
advising,
based?
helping.
Yeah. Oh
They're
wow. He's a
kind of
super
everywhere.
humble guy though. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, yeah.
And he's kind of worked on everything like Wasabi and
Yeah. The guy's like a samurai.
yeah. And then
Um
if you just, he talks so smoothly and like he drops bangers the whole
Hmm.
time. And it's like, wait,
yes.
Yeah.
I need to think about that one last sentence. And he drops another one. And it's like,
Yeah.
wait. Yeah.
Let me tell you about the axiom of
No, him, him
resistance.
him talking about framing Noster as valleys of flourishing, like you imagine a mountain and there's all these isolated communities and each are a valley and they're all separated. And so you can have like indigenous cultures arise again that are unique within those valleys that are kind of protected, isolated a bit from the other valleys. So you can each have an independent culture within them, but have multiple valleys. Yeah, he just has an excellent way of just like framing it so that someone like me who doesn't know it can understand.
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that earlier, and that's a way more elegant way to say that. Like each little app and relays can have their own rules. Like, okay, no, that guy has to prove who they are before they enter our little space. But then you could just use your same identity to hop into another app, or hop into the global town square and say something to the world. Like, it's pretty cool.
So white noise is gangster.
White noise is gangster.
That's gonna be awesome. What
Yeah.
about, like, we talked earlier, and your eyes kind of lit up when I said that um, Nostr could be that Web3 interoperability moment between gaming. Like we thought that Sandbox and all that stuff was going to be in 2021. Is there a gaming community being built in Nostr as well? I'm not a
No,
gamer. I have no desire to become one, but I do know it's a great way to attract a lot of people.
yeah.
So
I
yeah,
mean, anything could scale this place. Like, you can just have the next Flappy Bird. Remember when
Hmm.
Flappy
yeah,
Bird came out and
yeah,
everybody was flapping?
yeah, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
instead of just that in-house identity, whatever the heck they use, just use a Nostr identity. Next thing you know, millions of people are using Nostr without us even really knowing. It's like, oh wait, all these friends I just made on this app can go talk over here. It could start to make sense as the gravity inclusive. We're just kind of in this. I wouldn't call it a cold start problem because we have real people using the apps every day, but it's just a
It does
small amount
feel
of
like
people.
that. Yeah, it does kind of feel like that. You're right. The
Mhm.
cold start problem. That's a good way to
Yeah,
put it. Because I open up my Primal app and I basically see a post by Lynn Alden and then some guy named D's Nuts. And that's pretty much my experience most days.
yeah.
And D's
So
Nuts is wild, by the way. I like the guy. He's
yeah,
awesome.
you can swipe over like trending stuff, right?
I haven't ever done it.
Yeah. See, we're gonna see, like, there's reasons why Primal isn't mainstream yet, man. Like, it'll happen when I mean, we've got I've seen the UX that's coming. It's like, and I knew there's a lot of people don't even know that we have these trending feeds. Like, damn.
Okay,
Um,
I'll check him
and there
out.
will be more algorithms and stuff to, help you see what you kind of want to see,
Hmm.
but know why you're getting that information and everything. And it'll all be open source and you'll be able to see why you're seeing this content and everything. But yeah,
One of the things that I think is amazing, we did this for the last episode with Max, is that we got done and I said, hey man, shoot me a lightning address. And so I drop, and we'll do it with you too. I drop his lightning address in. And so now any zaps that we get off of this podcast on Fountain, they'll be split. And that gives us that value for value type of thing that pushes people. Like that was Grant was asking you about your aha moment. Like my
uh-huh.
aha moment as a musician was realizing the power of collaboration.
Yeah,
Was that we're all incentivized to work together. Um, because if you have just as much ownership in this podcast as we do, then you extrapolate that out over the grand experience of working with a community, it really raises the level of everything that we do.
yeah.
I might even wear pants to a podcast. Yeah,
Yeah,
big
the skin in
step.
the game right there. But that's amazing too. Like, isn't it just so obvious? Like, my
Yeah,
wife and I got like over $1,000 when when we did our little pregnancy or our little
Cool.
what is it, gender reveal
Hmm.
video. Did
yeah,
you see that? Did you guys see that?
I
Mm-mm.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, I threw up a coconut and put uh some powder in there, my friend did, and then I blew it up with a bat, and then I almost died, but I fell. But, yeah, we got, like, over $1,000 worth of Bitcoin from that, and then when we announced we had Maya, we got another, like, $1,000 worth, and
Cool.
I threw that to cold storage, and it's like,
Yeah.
this is so obvious. People from around the world are sending us money, whether it's big or small, they can send whatever they want. Like, dude,
Yeah.
we can be connected to people who are less fortunate and help support them with like little microtransactions as well. Like, it's so cool and so obvious um, that the future needs to go to something like this. It's just open, decentralized, permissionless, and it's here today. And it's kind of surprising that not many more people are using it, to be honest. But like, you can go get zapped and go buy a banana. There's one time down the street. we were just sitting there and we realized we had somehow no money in any of our Lightning wallets, my wife and I. And then we were just starting to shit post on Primal. And then someone sent us 5,000 sats and literally covered our coconuts that we were going to pay for when I got home. It was hilarious. It's like, wait, what?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh man, you're having the time of your life, dude. It's really cool. Really cool to have, like, you just have so much energy for this space. And you're right. Like, you get into it. It's just like Bitcoin, where you get into it and you're like, why is not everyone else figured this out already? This is clearly better. So yeah, it's very exciting. Very exciting. Grant, I know that you were, still, kind of, I'm still trying to nostr-pill you. I'm still trying to bring you on. What are the other questions that you've got for Paul, as far as, like, how can I get you to rip away from X
Yeah.
and Facebook and find yourself over on
I mean,
nostr
just
full time?
as a normie, it is all network effects. I don't want to be on X. I mean, not even because I think there's a better social app. I just don't want to be on any social apps. I'm on X kind of by force. You have to be, you got to get the podcast out. You got to network with people, that type of thing. There's always going to be a default. And so once once Nostr has those network effects, it's going to get the normies like me that just out of sheer necessity of living in the modern world, you have to have some interface onto other people. But I mean, that's all it is just like, unfortunately, I'm just waiting to be forced over to the next thing I'll have to do. So
That's your cold start problem. So Paul, what are you doing to recruit Kim Kardashian to Nostr?
I actually just made a tool for that. But
Yeah. Is this what you've been working on, vibe coding?
yeah, dude.
Vibe coding's insane.
I cannot wait till
It's a drug.
It's an absolute drug. I've not had this much fun on a screen. Like, this is the first time my wife's been like, dude, what are you doing? Like, a little worried about me, like, spending a little too much time on the screen, and, it's off brand. But yeah, I'm building something cool. But actually, to Grant's point, yeah, there's a lot more reasons to be on X and Instagram because the people are there. If you have anything to do with the Bitcoin space, you are completely missing out not being on Primal. And I could say that with a straight
yeah,
face, or Nostr, of course. Like, you need to be here. You can get the attention of the Jeff Booths and the Lynn Aldens and the Jacks of the world way easier on Nostr, and you'll stand out more by replying to people and just talking to people, or if you want to share, an insight you had, or your bananas you're eating, like whatever, um, to Primal. And then, yeah, to get the other people here, who knows? It might just take a few key people here and
yeah,
there. We don't need billions of people to make a successful business as well. Like, we can be humble and make a great business out of Primal too, like, without just extracting from and farming people,
right.
really.
Yeah,
But yeah, there also needs to be bridges to Nostr, because people, they put so much effort into their, platforms, and coming over and starting from zero on Nostr, it's like, well, here we go again.
exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've got 60 some followers on Nostr. I've got a couple thousand on X, like more than that on Facebook. And it's very humbling to be, like, just once again speaking into the void.
Yes.
No one hears, no one cares.
And you can shamelessly, like, DM me, your posts and stuff, and I'll repost them. Like, we are the algorithm.
I shamelessly DM'd you to get you on this podcast. Like
Exactly,
that.
dude, just freaking keep shooting away. Like,
The only people that haven't responded are Jack Dorsey and Safety Amos.
yeah,
Shooting for the stars.
Well, keep shooting.
Yeah.
They're nice guys too, both of them.
No, I will say, just from the secondhand perspective, what Lucas has accomplished through Nostr has been incredible. Getting Max on and getting you on, Paul. It's the community there. I mean, that speaks for itself right there. Just what a great set of people.
And, I'll give you the playbook too, is you whip out your wallet and you go zap people. Now, it almost feels like buying engagement or buying followers or something, but every person that zaps me, I go look at, like, their profile. Who is
I
this
follow
person?
everyone. Yeah.
Right? And
Like,
this is
I mean,
something
if
new,
you give me
something
money,
strange.
you deserve my attention, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you can go stand out by going to the trending feed that you never see, I guess. You can see the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 12 hour, but anyways, and going and zapping and being the top zap on each post is like, there's some visibility for you too, if you want to grow a little bit and get some attention that way. You could even put a note in there, like Walker will have a link to his podcast in the note on his Zap. And it's like this whole concept called Zapvertising, which is a way to get attention by like Jack makes a post, you send him the most amount of money, and then
Yeah.
everybody sees your little message underneath. What a wholesome loop
Yeah,
that
that's
is.
cool.
Jack wins, you win, I win. If you, do it to my posts or whatever. It's a cool,
Yeah, that's awesome. That's like
yeah,
it's an honest form of pay to play, kind of.
yeah.
Well, it's like
And then Primal, in terms of growth and stuff, like we haven't made it too easy for newbies to find their tribes too. Like, say, someone from the house space came over and it's like, okay, people come over and then they see nobody from the house space that they want to follow. But what if there's like links we could send out where, okay, follow this person, that person. Next thing you know, they're all linked in, stuff like that, that we haven't focused on yet as we're just trying to catch up and have the basic social media functions, but on a decentralized network. What were we going to say, Grant?
No, I was just
Do
gonna
you remember?
yeah, Lucas, you called it pay for play, but I mean, we talk about pay authentication, just the idea of a little bit of proof of humanity right there. If someone is giving a little bit of value, that's more likely than not, that's a real person. That's not a bot. That's somebody who cares.
Yeah, exactly. Then you see if other real people follow him and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe yeah.
Who's on Nostr that I don't know about that I should know about? I know Jeff and Saifedean and Jack. It gives me a lot of hope that Jack is still partial owner of X. He's still got some skin in the game over there, that maybe someday that they'll run X on Nostr and make that seamless. But who are some of the people that we should know about on Nostr that are either people we wouldn't expect to be on Nostr or just people that are really high signal worthwhile? I know
Well, I
there's gonna
mean,
be a lot of them. I know
the
there's a lot.
top, like, I mean, like I can without a doubt say like this is the place to come for Bitcoin signal. I like this guy named Laser. He always has interesting takes about like health and Bitcoin and even like Christianity and philosophy. That was my buddy's source node. He's got all these great takes. He just found work on Nostr. He's like retired and he's like basically doing this work for free. And the next thing you know, this company wants to help. He's working,
Really?
which is kind of cool. But I love his takes. I brought a bunch of my friends in the house space, and they're here now and then. Like Saladino's on there as well. Um, and then Ken Berry, which is a big guy in the diet world as well. He naturally found Nostr, and he's pretty active on there as well. Um, but yeah, it's all coming. Then I'll read some articles every once in a while. It's like, oh, dude, glad you're here. This is cool. Like, yeah, the people that are coming over, because there is a little bit of a technical hurdle right now. So the people that tend to be here are there's a lot of developers or people that are, pretty intelligent. So it's a cool place to start from. Now
It
we just got to
feels
make the tools to make it go somewhere.
Yeah, it feels like early MySpace days, and it's really encouraging that the grand majority of the people that are on Nostr are devs, they're builders, and they're Bitcoiners.
And
That
the other
seems like a
piece
good
too,
place to be.
yeah. The other funny part too is they're all grants. People that freaking hate social media. But
Yeah,
it's like, I gotta make one. This guy Hodlebod, I don't know if you guys know Hodlebod. He's kind of part of the Thank God for Bitcoin movement, and he actually has a podcast called Thank God for Nostr. You should listen to him talk about like he'll philosophize kind of on max level, but kind of with a Christianity lens about like the means of which we're communicating and everything, the mediums. That's another one to go follow, and
that's a
he's
great
building on
one.
Nostr as well.
I shared with this Grant shared this with Grant last week, but I think it was 10 days ago now. That was like the first time in probably over a decade that I got down on my knees and I prayed. And it was like a really beautiful moment, because I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know what I was saying. I'm just like, well, this hurts. I've got 2 torn ACLs and this is painful. I'm like, but I think it's a good thing. And um, Michael Saylor talks about how Bitcoin is hope, and hope is having something to believe in that's beyond what you are. Um, and Bitcoin and Nostr, the community surrounding it, for some reason, it's continued over the last 4 or 5 years to draw me closer and closer and closer back to back to my faith and back to my spiritual and back to Christianity in particular. Um, and I've really enjoyed kind of the sort of like just the dumb innocence of that journey. and just being kind of vulnerable about it. And we've done a little reading, Grant and I, on sort of like the Bitcoin theology type of approach. Bitcoin monasteries incoming, and so yeah, I don't know. It's a good. It really does. It like feels like home. I'm sure that's how you feel. But
Yeah.
it does feel like home to be surrounded by those people that are kind of looking at the world with the same glint in their eye, maybe, as you are.
Yeah, I mean, is it a glint? Is it rose-colored glasses? Is it the truth? We're just here to figure it out. So, um, yeah, that in my drive down here is when I first hung out with Bitcoiners for the first time. I always like to encourage people to go out of their way to go do that and go to the conferences if you've never been, and because it completely changed my life. But really, yeah, it's just actually connecting with someone in real life instead of just lurking on Twitter. Um, yeah, it's a huge eye opener for me. Like, oh, this is what I've kind of been missing. People that are kind of on the same wavelength. It definitely is a big filter, which is why the network state is interesting.
It is, and by the way, yeah, if you ever get the opportunity, I'd go, man.
Yeah, even with
It's
wife and baby.
yeah, oh yeah, and they actually a month ago they started a nursery, so they've
Okay.
got childcare there. And that was probably one of the best things about it. To give you a little background, like I got there as a member, and I was a bit frustrated because they were like, "Oh, we have a cold plunge, and we have a sauna, but none of it was built and none of it was put together." And I was like, "There's 100 engineers here, and nobody knows how to change a light bulb." And so I went to town and I bought some tools and I came back and I started putting everything together. And then I started fixing things, and then I started hosting music concerts and just all kinds of stuff. And about 3 weeks in, they came to me and they said, "Hey, would you be interested in like actually working for us and running a program called Man Camp and basically teaching these like dude skills because everybody else there comes from a big city, they've never worked with tools." And I have this thesis that as we progress further and further towards AI and robotics, technology is going to make us all more even. You've heard the saying like, God made man, but Samuel Colt made man equal.
Yeah.
Like the pistol makes everybody
Yeah.
equal in a fight. And so I have this thesis that in a world of technology where you don't have to do anything, what you can do on your own is the only thing that separates you from other people. So to be able to have agency and be able to impart physics upon the world around you through use of tools and through use of your own imagination, I think is really important. Plus, it's a great way to learn and
Mhm.
just. I think, by the way, again, this is a Web3 thing that I think a lot about. In Jason Lowery's book Software, he talks about one of the reasons why we have this Web3 problem with all of this like proof of stake abstract stuff is simply the nature of who developers are, which is that they're often the people that did not excel, that were shunned, and they're kind of like, oh, I can go learn on my own how to code. And here's a world with no rules. And a world with no rules is actually not very good. Like you read Jocko Willink's book, Discipline is Freedom, extreme ownership. The more discipline you have, the more responsibility you have. That's Jordan Peterson.
Yeah.
The more free your life is, right? But anyways, to get back to the whole thing, I started doing these morning ruck marches, and every single morning, 7 a.m., we go on a 5 kilometer ruck march, and
Dude,
Balaji's son and Balaji's father-in-law joined every single day,
no way.
and to watch the transformation that kid had, and his father-in-law lost like 24 pounds just in 2 months or something like that, just doing that. Um, but to see Balaji's son, who is utterly brilliant, and a wonderful, wonderful kid, but to see him like kind of start showing up more as a man, a little more square shouldered and a little more looky in the eye and a little more quiet. Um, yeah, it was just really beautiful. So there are quite a few kids around there. Man, take the wife, take the kids. Obviously, you got a really little one right now, so maybe wait a minute on that. But yeah,
Yeah,
dude,
I have this
it's
call to
awesome.
go to, like, maybe there and go to Asia and just kinda see the world. Like, I wanna go see China, like, get over
They
there.
They just took a trip. So I came back in September, and like 2 weeks after I came back, they basically took like the whole network school to China, to like Shenzhen, and I can't remember where else. And um, the reports that I got from them were that like for a lot of them, they felt it was like more American than they pictured America was supposed to be.
Because you fly into LAX and it's just like, dude, what the heck?
Yeah, nightmare.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the first time I flew into LAX, I was in the plane and we were coming down, and there's the smog level.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I'm old enough to know better at this point. I'm like 23, 24. And I looked at that smog and I was like, that's solid. This plane is going to bounce off that. We're going to explode. Like, I thought we were going to die.
Man,
It's horrific.
it's
So
not good.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, go check out the network school, man. It's fascinating. And also the opportunity to be able to like swim against the current and be a guy. I identify a little more like you than I do like as a developer and as a Web3 guy. And so it's kind of fun to go be there and be the guy
Exactly
swimming
where I want
against
to
the
go.
current.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and Paul,
what's
just
going on
to
over
cast
here? Like,
my
sniff it out, touch it.
to cast my vote for you going, Paul, I'll just say I'm nostr-pilled now. You know, we talked to Max Hillebrand, and that got me there ideologically. But to see just how vibrant you are, and you know, it's obviously the work that you're doing is feeding back into your life. So I'm gonna get on Nostr before our next week's conversation. We're gonna read Heidegger's The Question Concerning Technology, and he kind of talks about that, about how how our tools and the way we interface with technology shapes our outlook and reveals the world to us in a specific way. And I see that in you. And man, if you went to the network state to, to reveal that to the people there, you know, like you are right here. So I appreciate so much your just your generosity too of talking with us, man. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, thanks for saying that, man. It means a lot. And send me that article. And then let me know when you get on Nostr. I'll
Yeah,
repost it.
definitely.
Nice.
Yeah, that's me holding myself accountable to the internet right there. So
Yeah,
There you
you're
go.
taking the Paul approach.
That's
All
right.
right, Paul, we're
Gotta
gonna
build buddies.
we're gonna let you get back to your world, but before we do, parting shots, final shot across the bow. Like, what do you want to say to the world, the 42 people that occasionally listen to our podcast, that are extremely exuberant about what they're going to hear this deep into the podcast?
Yeah, who's still here? But just Pura Vida means pure life. It's Costa Rica's like little motto. And I just love it. That's great software to run in your head. Something great happens, Pura Vida, you know?
Cool.
Great. Something terrible happens, Pura Vida, it'll pass. So have a good one, Pura Vida. Thanks for listening. Come on, Nostr. Tag me out, Paul in the Jungle, and I'll send you some Bitcoin.
Right on.
Paul in the Jungle, you are the man. Thank you for joining us on Bitcoin Study Sessions. We really appreciate it, man.